Hello, today I'll be talking about gender oppression in the physical therapy field. I'm going to start with a little introduction just to get to know more about the field. Physical therapy specializes in rehabilitation with individuals with injury, disease, or deformity. They help people get back on their feet and get back to living their normal daily lives. That's the main goal. A degree in physical therapy isn't very easy to achieve, but it's also very rewarding. It requires an undergraduate and a BS, a Bachelor's of Science, which takes about 4 years. Usually you can take an exercise physiology route, pre-physical therapy route. After a degree, or bachelor's degree has been achieved, a student achieves for DPT, also known as a doctorate in physical therapy. That requires an additional 3 years. Doctorate in physical therapy, graduate schools are very tough to get into, so it's a very competitive career. Also, though, a big problem with PT that not a lot of people recognize or realize is that the field is filled with 72,000 employees, 70% of which are women. But the main problem is that women are the dominant gender, yet they're paid less than their male counterparts. In 2009, there were 209 PT programs in the United States, included 20,193 students. 14,000 of which were women. So it's a staggering difference between men and women in the field, but we wonder why they would receive less income than their male counterparts. These are just some of the numbers, some of the staggering numbers that come with this. This slide introduces us that 16% of males make more than $100,000 compared to only 6% females. Also, roughly 50% of males make less than $75,000 compared to only 34% of women. Another statistic we see is that women PTs earn 81.6 cents for every dollar that their male counterparts make. Why are men paid so much more than women? We're not really sure. A lot of people think that this might have to do with during their interview process or their hiring process at their company. They believe that women are not as aggressive as reaching the pay that they want that males are. Also, this is not as an uncommon statistic as you would think. This is very relative to general workforce. It's known as the glass ceiling effect. Our next slide that I'm going to talk about introduces us to the glass ceiling effect. So what is the glass ceiling? Well, according to Wikipedia.com, the glass ceiling is an unseen barrier that limits minorities, and especially women, from rising to the upper rungs of the corporate ladder, regardless of qualifications or achievements. This is what's staggering about the glass ceiling, and especially for physical therapy, is that women and men both work so hard and they obtain the same exact degree, regardless of the same college or anything, yet women still earn less than men, and it's unfortunate. Women, their median income was 9% less than males in 2010, according to the Atlantic Philanthropies. This affects the PT field. Even if women have a doctorate degree, she still doesn't make as much as a man. We have a chart here, and it shows the differences, not just in physical therapy, but among all careers. And it shows that once a certain age for males and females, where the income, growth in income stops. And sadly here, for women, its pay stops at $39,000. At this point, it's roughly $60,000 per year. But for men, the pay stops growing at age 48, whereas it's $95,000 a year. That's a staggering $55,000 difference. The Glass Ceiling Index from Economist.com says that the top countries in the world are New Zealand, Nordic countries, and Northern Europe, and they are the best at the smallest wage gap difference between the males and females. So if you're willing to move to Europe, then you have the best chance of receiving the same amount as your male counterparts. Sadly, U.S. was ranked 12th out of 26 in that category. Our next topic is, how do the women PTs feel? Sadly, after researching this, not much information was found on specific PTs speaking their thoughts. I'm not sure exactly why. Maybe it's because or female PTs just, I don't know if they're not worried about it or if they don't like to speak about it or what. But I did find some research online. According to Forbes.com contributor Lisa Quast, she says that it's not so much as a glass ceiling as it is a labyrinth, because it conveys the idea of a complex journey towards a goal worth striving for. And she also says that passage is not simple or direct, but requires persistence. After reading this article, it was an interesting article because it found a different point of view from a woman that isn't very common. Most women think that, or most people think that the glass ceiling is just a point at which they can't get any further regardless of their degree or qualifications. But Lisa Quast from Forbes.com thought of it as more of a difficult journey, more difficult journey that women take than men would, and that women have to be more persistent at obtaining their goals, and by doing so, she believes that the glass ceiling could be broken. Another possible reason for quietness among PT women and just women in general about their pay was that many people aren't open about talking about their income, regardless of their career. Some people just feel they just choose not to, and so it's kind of hard to find information on that. Next, the men's views. And after researching men's views on PT, again, I couldn't find many or much information on it, but it was a very interesting topic because I expected men, before I started researching, to have more of a passive argument on it. I thought that men would be more quiet and just kind of shy away from the topic, but the CEO of ENG Bank was disgusted actually by the non-level playing field that women encounter while looking for jobs. He said that as the CEO, he hires women because they add a different diversity to the field of his company and his business. And he also says that he believes no matter what, he hires the top people for the job, regardless of their gender, race, any of that. I also found another interview on the Huffington Post, and they talked about the glass cellar effect. They talked about the glass cellar, and what the glass cellar is it's how 25 of the most dangerous jobs are comprised of 85% males. And this was more of a males, I wouldn't say complaining, but they say, well, look at us, trash workers, steel workers. They said, well, how come women don't want these jobs? I don't think anybody would want those jobs, but that's just the glass cellar effect, and that was pretty interesting. They said that men are stuck doing the unwanted jobs and argued why they're locked in these positions. I believe obviously they're locked in those positions because they're more of physical employment jobs that require strength that the women don't necessarily have as much as the men do. Next, we're going to look at the averages among different professions. According to the NPR, insurance sales agents are the biggest occupation gaps for females. So they earn 65% less than their male counterparts of the same job. Among the top 10, 5 of which were sales positions. This is staggering because the average for retail sales is 64%. I believe this to be so because sales positions require a more aggressive approach and more persistence, and this could be due to the wage gap because maybe women are less persistent or less aggressive than their male counterparts, and therefore don't make as much in sales, so on. Majority, okay, why is this? PT, higher or lower? PTs are much lower percentage, 81 cents for every dollar a male makes, 78% average less. This takes me to the next. Is there anyone trying to make a difference in this? Who is speaking about this? Who's trying to make this known among other people to get this problem out there? Rosa DeLauro is a Democrat from Connecticut. She's the sponsor of the equal pay legislation. Recently, they promoted the Paycheck Fairness Act. The goal of the Paycheck Fairness Act was to expand the scope of the Equal Pay Act of 1963. Rosa DeLauro is a proud sponsor, but unfortunately they have proposed this Paycheck Fairness Act to Congress twice. Congress has shot it down twice also. I'm not sure why. I couldn't find really in-depth information on why it was shot down, but it's unfortunate because I don't see why anybody should shoot it down. I don't see why women shouldn't make the same amount as men also. For the end of my research, I came to the conclusion that this is a problem that definitely needs more attention, not necessarily just in the PT field, but in every career field. The glass ceiling is not about yes, but it needs to be acted upon. I just don't understand how anyone could think that it's fair for one gender to receive more income than the opposite gender, regardless of sex or qualifications or any of that. It's sad, and more needs to be done about it. I can only hope that my colleagues one day will realize the problem in the PT field specifically. I want to reach out to exercise physiology students in my same major or one day in the field and make it more well known that women aren't receiving the same amount of accreditation that they deserve. This needs to be made more aware of. So that was my research project on gender oppression in the physical therapy field. Thank you very much.